More and more the chosen ones have been complaining of headaches that seem to have no explanation. Medical exams often point to nothing. Medicines work only for short moments, and the discomfort returns. These pains are not only physical, they carry spiritual and emotional signals that need to be understood. The body speaks what the soul so often remains silent about. The chosen ones feel it more intensely, and this is reflected in the body. The weight of invisible battles, constant worries, and spiritual sensitivity can transform accumulated energy into pain. Therefore, these pains cannot be seen merely as common symptoms. They are reminders that something is happening beyond the physical. This type of pain is also a call to stop, reflect, and lay down the weights that were not meant to be carried alone. The body screams when the soul is overloaded. Recognizing this is the first step toward true relief. The chosen one needs to learn to listen to what the body reveals in order to care for the spirit. Before continuing, I'd like to ask for something simple. If you identify with this topic, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. This strengthens this space and shows that you are part of this journey. Here we share deep reflections that help the chosen ones understand their signs and their mission. You are welcome on this journey. Many of the chosen ones visit doctors, undergo detailed exams, and always receive the same answer. Everything is normal. But deep down, they know it's not. The headache insists on returning, appears for no apparent reason, and disappears suddenly. This mystery generates frustration, for it seems that no one understands, yet it also reveals something deep and spiritual. The pain that finds no physical explanation usually has invisible roots. It is not merely the result of poor diet or passing stress. Often it arises from accumulated worries, unresolved feelings, or spiritual battles that drain energy. The chosen one feels more than others, picks up atmospheres, vibrations, and even pains that do not belong to him. This weighs on the mind. It's as if every environment leaves a mark. A simple conversation, bad news, or even a loaded glance can be triggers. The physical body may be healthy, but the overloaded soul finds in headaches a way to warn something needs to be released. This pain is not only uncomfortable, it is also a deep message from within. Many do not understand and try to ignore it. They take medicines to silence the pain, but forget to look at the cause. The chosen one must go beyond. Instead of blaming himself or believing he is sick, he should ask, "What does this pain want to show me?" Because often what seems like mere malaise is in fact a call from the soul. The body becomes the alarm when the soul can endure no more. The pain arises as a sign of overload, asking for rest, silence, and reconnection. Before it appears, there was almost always something: a disagreement, a worry, a spiritual burden received without realizing it. Observing what precedes the pain is essential to understand its message and relieve the invisible weight. Thus, the chosen one discovers that the pain is not merely an enemy. It is a sign of sensitivity, a warning to take better care of oneself. It is not about accepting pain as normal, but about seeing that it reveals an excess. Each discomfort is an opportunity to adjust the course, rest, and remember that he was not called to exhaust himself. The chosen one does not bear only commitments, work, and routine. He also carries an invisible mission, a spiritual responsibility that few understand. This calling makes him absorb pressures that are not his own. In these moments, the headache is not just physical fatigue, but a reflection of a spiritual battle that the body feels and translates into pain. It is common for these pains to appear after intense prayer, intercession, or even after challenging spiritual encounters. There are days when the chosen one does not even understand where the weight came from, but he feels in his head as if he were taking invisible blows. It is not imagination, it is sensitivity. The body responds to what the soul faces, and this needs to be recognized. This pressure does not mean weakness. On the contrary, it shows the special sensitivity that the chosen one carries. He feels more, perceives more, and therefore bears burdens that others do not even notice. But he also needs to learn to surrender, because when he tries to hold everything on his own, the consequence is the body responding in pain. The message is clear. You were not born to carry alone. Many times the headache is a reminder that the struggle is spiritual and needs to be treated spiritually. The chosen one needs to seek refuge in prayer, rest, and reconnection with the presence of God. Only then does the weight stop suffocating. The body merely translates what was already happening in the invisible, drawing attention to what must be surrendered. If you don't take care, the pain repeats itself like a cycle. Each new overload, each new attack, returns in the form of physical pain. But when the chosen one understands that this pain is not only his, he also learns to protect himself, to discern, and to let go. The body strengthens when the soul finds rest in the care of the eternal. Thus, the pain ceases to be merely an inconvenience and becomes a sign, a reminder that the mission is great but never solitary, a warning that the body asks for lightness when the soul is lost in battles bigger than itself. The spiritual weight is reflected in the body, but can be relieved when surrendered into the right hands. The chosen one's mind is one of the most attacked places. It carries internal pressures, memories that have not yet healed, and fears that insist on appearing in moments of greatest weakness. All of this accumulates like a silent storm, invisible to others, but very real for those who feel it. The result is often not just anxiety or worry. It is a headache that appears without warning, capable of paralyzing the body and stealing the energy of the day. This is not just about muscle tension or physical effort. The true struggle happens in thoughts, inside. Every negative idea, every exaggerated self-criticism, and every concern that insists on returning, even when it seemed resolved, becomes a stone inside the mind. The weight grows so much that it needs to manifest somehow. It is at this moment that the headache appears, as the result of a war that is fought not on the outside, but in the silence of the soul. The chosen one carries a sensitive mind, able to perceive far beyond the ordinary. He notices gestures, silences, subtle changes around. This sensitivity is a gift, but it also becomes the gateway through which attacks arrive. Inner voices begin to multiply, repetitive thoughts gain strength, and the mind, instead of being a shelter, becomes a tormenting territory. It is there that many feel drained, as if energy is being stolen, as if peace is being torn away little by little. The battlefield is not external, it is inside the head itself. What the world does not see, the chosen one feels intensely. There, between faith and fear, hope and doubt, a struggle is waged that consumes hours and nights of sleep. There are not always visible tears or clear signs, but the headache reveals. Something heavy is happening inside. When the mind cannot find rest, the body suffers. It is as if every unresolved thought transforms into an invisible weight pressing against the brain. The pain is only the reflection of this overload. The head aches not because the body is sick, but because the mind is carrying burdens that should never be borne alone. It is like carrying a backpack full of stones, without realizing you could take it off at any moment. Therefore, the chosen one must learn to protect the mind. This is a daily task, almost like guarding a door. Not every thought deserves space. Not every worry needs to be fed. There are ideas that arrive as unwanted visitors, and if not rejected, they take root. When rooted, they turn into torment. Guarding the mind is like building protective walls around the heart. It is choosing, every day, which seeds will be planted. Protecting the mind does not mean living in isolation or avoiding challenges. On the contrary, it means learning to decide what to believe and where to fix one's gaze. The chosen one needs to feed thoughts of peace, hope, and confidence, because every thought is a seed. Plant fear, you reap insecurity. Plant faith, you reap strength. The mind is like fertile soil. Everything planted in it grows, for better or worse. The chosen one must understand, protecting the mind is protecting the entire journey, because when the mind rests, the body follows, and when the body finds this balance, even the most persistent pains begin to lose their strength. And the body speaks when the soul is silent. This is one of the greatest truths that the chosen ones need to learn to recognize. When feelings are not expressed, when pain is suffocated, when anguish is hidden, the body assumes the role of communicating. And often, the headache is the strongest form of that silent scream. Each physical pain may be connected to an emotional pain. When the chosen one pretends to be fine, but inside is in pieces, the body records that contradiction. It becomes the voice of what has been silenced. Thus, the headache appears as a warning. Something inside needs attention. Ignoring this is ignoring a distress call from the soul itself. Pain never comes to punish, but to teach. It is a message, a signal that something needs to be reorganized. For the chosen ones, this is even stronger, because spiritual sensitivity amplifies the body's signals. The head hurts because the soul is overloaded, because too many kept feelings begin to press from the inside out. When the chosen one learns to listen to the body, he discovers that each symptom is an open letter from the interior. Pain asks for rest, silence, reconnection. It is not weakness to admit that you need to stop. It is wisdom. Because continuing to ignore pain only increases the weight. The body insists until the heart finally understands the urgency of the message. Taking care of the body is also taking care of the soul. The chosen one cannot live only outwardly. He must turn inward and ask, "What is my pain trying to show me?" This practice of listening transforms the headache from an enemy into a guide. Instead of fighting it, one learns to welcome the message it brings. Thus, the body ceases to be merely a physical instrument and becomes a spiritual partner. Each discomfort reveals something that the soul could not express. The chosen one who learns to read these messages discovers a path to balance. Pain is no longer seen as punishment, but as a sign of care from above, showing that even the body has a voice of the soul. Headaches for the chosen ones do not appear only as physical signals. They function as silent invites, almost as alerts from heaven saying, "Stop, turn off, breathe." The body speaks when the soul cannot find space to express itself. The chosen one many times insists on living on autopilot, bound to routines, deadlines, and pressures. But the pain arises to remind him that it is necessary to pause before he crumbles. Rest is not a waste of time. On the contrary, it is the key to regaining strength. The world teaches that stopping is synonymous with weakness, but for the chosen one, resting is a spiritual discipline. When he allows himself to stop, he realizes that silence is not empty, but full of meanings. It is in the silence that the mind slows down, the heart finds peace, and the pain loses space. Silence is also a space of revelation. While external distractions fall silent, the voice of God becomes clearer. It is at this moment that the chosen one perceives that his pains are not random symptoms, but messages. The headache, in this sense, becomes an urgent request from the body and the soul. Reorganize yourself, take a deep breath, and return to the essential. Many ignore this call, and insist on pushing their own limits. However, the more the chosen one tries to resist, the stronger the pain becomes. It is not about giving up responsibilities, but about learning to balance them. The pause is not a delay. It is a way to advance with more wisdom. The body needs this space to heal, and the soul to re-find itself. Resting is also trusting. When the chosen one allows himself to stop, he recognizes that he does not need to control everything. There are battles that are not his, concerns that do not depend on his strength. It is in this act of letting go that rest gains a deep meaning. It is not mere physical repose, but a spiritual act of recognizing that God continues to act while he rests. Silence also teaches. It shows the chosen one that life is not made only of movement, but also of pauses. It is in the pauses that the music of existence gains harmony. The chosen one, when retreating into silence, learns to differentiate what is urgent from what is important, what is noise from what is truth. This clarity, by itself, relieves many pains. Thus, headaches cease to be mere annoyances and become signals that it is time to stop. They are divine invitations to retreat, reminders that the body cannot be ignored. The chosen one who learns to heed this call discovers that resting is not about stopping to live, but about learning to live more deeply, with balance and renewal. When pain finds no physical explanation, prayer reveals itself as one of the greatest keys to healing. The chosen one understands that complaining only increases the weight, but surrender transforms. At the moment the head hurts, he can raise a simple prayer. Lord, this weight is not mine. I place it in your hands. And in that surrender begins the process of liberation. Prayer is not a magical formula, but an intimate encounter. It is when the chosen one acknowledges his limits and opens space for divine intervention. The body may be tired, the mind overwhelmed, but the instant the soul bows in prayer, a new strength arises. It is as if the weight dissipates little by little, replaced by the peace that passes understanding. It does not need to be long, rehearsed, or full of pretty words. True prayer is sincere, often simply closing the eyes, taking a deep breath, and whispering, "I cannot do it alone, Lord, help me." This simplicity opens doors that medicines and diagnoses do not reach. The heart finds rest because it remembers that it is not fighting alone. Prayer also redefines pain. Instead of seeing it only as suffering, the chosen one begins to see it as an opportunity for encounter. Each headache can become a reminder that it is time to return to God. This change of perspective transforms weight into purpose. The pain ceases to be merely an annoyance and becomes a sign that something must be surrendered. It is in this place of surrender that invisible healing happens. It is not merely an absence of pain, but an interior transformation. Prayer does not erase problems, but strengthens the chosen one to face them. It returns clarity to the mind, organizes emotions, and restores the body. The pain may persist for a time, but it no longer has the same power because it has been placed before the Most High. Prayer also creates a space of trust. The chosen one understands that he was not called to carry everything alone. When he prays, he transfers the weight to the one who can bear it. This act of faith changes everything. The body relaxes because it knows the soul is no longer suffocating. Rest comes because the heart has learned to let go of control and trust. Hence, prayer is more than a religious habit. It is spiritual survival. When headaches arise without explanation, they can be transformed into meeting points with God. The chosen one learns not to run from pain, but to use it as a bridge to the divine presence. And in this process, he discovers that true healing begins from the inside out. Pain is not the enemy. For the chosen one, every headache can become a silent reminder. an invitation to look beyond the physical and see the invisible. When it arises, it should not be faced only as suffering, but as a message. It points to areas of life that need attention, balance, or surrender. This shift in perspective is already the first step to transforming pain into strength. Often, the first reaction to pain is to want to get rid of it as quickly as possible. Seek medicines, ignore the discomfort, or simply continue as if nothing were happening. But the chosen one learns that there is more wisdom in stopping and observing. The question is not only how to end the pain, but what is this pain trying to teach me? Strengthening arises from this stance. Instead of living by fleeing the discomfort, the chosen one learns to embrace it as a teacher. Every time pain arrives, there is an opportunity to grow. He discovers where he needs to organize better, where he needs to let go of control, where he needs to take care of himself. This awareness transforms each pain into a step of growth. Over time, pain ceases to be merely discomfort and becomes part of the maturation process. The chosen one realizes that he can come out stronger from each episode. He learns to know himself better, to respect his own limits, to discern when the weight is human and when it is spiritual. This perception brings clarity, and clarity is one of the greatest strengths that exist. Pain also reveals the need for support. Often, the chosen one tries to carry everything alone until the body cries out. The headache can be that silent cry, asking for help. And when the chosen one recognizes this, he learns to share his burdens, to ask for prayer, to seek rest, and to let God act. This does not make him weak. It makes him wise. Moreover, pain opens space for dependence on God. When everything is well, it is easy to believe that strength is only ours. But when the head weighs heavy, when the body does not respond, the chosen one remembers that there is a higher power sustaining each step. It is in these moments of vulnerability that faith deepens and trust grows. Strengthening happens not only in the body, but mainly in the soul. Each time the chosen one turns pain into learning, he becomes more prepared for the mission he carries. Pain shapes character, teaches patience, develops resilience. Instead of weakening, it polishes. And the chosen one, by accepting this process, comes out of it firmer, more aware, and more sensitive to the purpose that guides him. Therefore, turning pain into strength is a choice. The chosen one can complain, resist, and rebel, or he can open up, learn, and grow. The difference lies in how he perceives the discomfort. The pain that once seemed punishment reveals itself as training. The weight that seemed unbearable becomes an opportunity to align the heart with God and move forward stronger. In the end, each pain transforms into wisdom, and each wisdom strengthens for the next steps. The chosen one understands that he does not walk alone, that even pain is part of the preparation process. The head that hurts today may be the sign that tomorrow he will be more mature, more attentive, and more prepared to carry the purpose entrusted to him. Thus, pain is not the end, but a portal. It does not come to destroy, but to build. When embraced with faith and discernment, pain becomes strength. The chosen one who learns this discovers that even the most difficult moments can become seeds of growth. He leaves pain more whole, stronger, and more aware of who he is and who guides him. The headaches that so many chosen ones feel cannot be viewed only as physical discomforts. They are signs, silent reminders that something inside needs attention. The body speaks, the mind screams, and the soul asks for rest. Ignoring does not solve, but listening transforms. Each pain is a call to stop, reflect, and realign. The chosen one learns that pain does not come to punish him, but to shape him. It is in the discomfort that he discovers the need for rest, silence, and prayer. The body warns, the mind opens, and the spirit finds in God the source of renewal. Pain, when welcomed, becomes a bridge to a deeper encounter with the Creator. This process teaches that true strength is not in resisting alone, but in recognizing limits and surrendering weights. Prayer is not just words, it is an act of faith. Rest is not laziness, it is healing. Silence is not empty, it is the space where God speaks. The chosen one who understands this discovers that even pains are part of preparation. Transforming pain into strengthening is the key. Each discomfort can become a teacher. Each weight can be converted into wisdom. The head that hurts today may be the same one that tomorrow is clearer, lighter, and more ready to carry ideas, dreams, and responsibilities of the purpose. It is in this cycle that the chosen one matures and strengthens. Therefore, when pain comes, do not despair. Take a deep breath, pray, rest. Allow yourself to listen to what the body and the soul are saying. Do not fight the process, use it to your advantage. Pain is not the end of anything, but a sign that a new beginning is taking place within you. It is God reminding you that even limits are part of the path. And now I want to hear from you. Leave a comment here. Have you also felt headaches without explanation? Have you noticed that they may be linked to spiritual or emotional weight? Share your experience, because your voice can strengthen other chosen ones going through the same. If this message spoke to your heart, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and continue walking with us. Remember, no step you take is in vain. Even the pain you feel can be used to reveal the strength that already exists in you.